Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Shy Panther and Friends Show. I am your host, Gail, and today we have Alicia Ya Yah Townsend, and we'll tell you a little bit more about who she is in a moment. And I just want to remind everyone, if you've never seen the show before, the whole purpose of Shy Panther and Friends Show is to allow blues musicians and artists, particularly in blues, to come on and share their stories. So today we're going to get into our story with Alicia, and I'm going to, for the rest of the interview, I'll be referring to her as Yaya. So career-wise, when did you? How did what like your first professional gig? When can you share about that?
Yeah. So it kind of tipped when I started singing in the subway. Um it was this summer, I want to say summer of 2008, maybe 2009, around that time. Um I really didn't want to work a summer job, so I called up my friend and I was like, "Hey, can I come down in the subway with you guys?" He was like, "Yeah, come on." Um, because I mean, I'm pretty good at generating tips. So I went down there and we just sang and sang, and it became really quick, it became my favorite thing to do. Um, and then one day we were down there, and these I don't know what you would call them. I guess you would call them like these talent buyers from House of Blues
Mm,
Chicago. They walked up to my friend who was uh uh technically it was his band. He was the band leader and kind of coordinated everything. And they told him, they were like, "Hey, we're doing a street performers showcase at House of Blues. Do you guys want to be a part of it?" And he was like, "Yeah." So we did that, and then from there we got an offer to just kind of perform there on the regular. So that's when it kind of like tipped from us being street performers to actual like professional musicians.
mhm.
That was our first professional gig. That was my first professional gig, and then from there it just kind of tipped over into going to like other venues, other places like chain restaurants around the suburbs and things like that.
Mhm.
Um, and I got my big break when I performed very randomly. Very randomly, I performed at I performed at Buddy Guy's Legends with Omar Coleman and his band.
Okay.
Um, and I went there. It was just like a random Sunday night. I had on like this tattered hoodie with like bleach stains in it. I had on this like old pair of Levi's with like holes in the crotch. Um, and I really had no plans whatsoever um performing or singing or anything. I think at this point it had been a year or two since I sang anything. I was waitressing at this restaurant downtown at the time, and it was just my day off. Um, and I was there, and the talent buyer there, he was like, if you could go up there, he was like, well, let me backtrack a little. My friend, well, my ex-husband, who's now like my very good friend, he introduced me to the talent buyer, and he was like, she could sing, she could sing. Um, and talent buyer was like, you know what? He was like, I'll tell you what. He was like, if you go up there and sing right now and impress me, I'll give you a job. And I was like, okay. So I went up there and I sang. I think I sang Stepping Out, Stepping In, and then I sang Bad Mama Jamma. Um, and I got off the stage, and he was like, well, I'm a man of my word. He was like, He was like, I said if you sang and impressed me, you got you I was gonna give you a job. And he was like, well, he was like, you got a job. And I was like, all right. So that was in February, and I had my first set there that August.
Okay.
And it's just been up from there.
Wow. Wow. Fast forward a little bit to the weeks or months even before you got sick. Can you share a little bit?
Um yeah, I was doing a lot of singing around the city and abroad.
Mm-hmm.
Um let's see, we are in May. A little over a year ago, I went overseas to Argentina with my friend Ivan Singh, um, and we sang at a huge rock festival, blues and rock festival,
Mm-hmm.
um, in
Wow.
his home, like right outside his hometown, in Cordoba. Cordoba, Argentina is like the second biggest city. The
Mm.
first biggest city is Buenos Aires, and we did both of those cities. We did a huge festival out in the mountainside, right outside of Cordoba, and then we spent the second half in Buenos Aires, where we sang at a really popular jazz club out there called Bebop, the club Bebop there, and that was pretty life changing. It wasn't the first time I went overseas, but it was the first time in a very long time that I went
Mm.
overseas, and it was a blessing. It was a life changing experience. It made me realize how much the world still really loves blues music.
Mm, yeah. Isn't it
Um,
amazing? It
yeah,
truly
it
is.
is. It truly is, and it really revived my affinity and my
Mm-hmm.
love for blues music. And it really encouraged me to just keep going. And that that same June, I did the Blues Festival, Chicago Blues Festival, uh, the biggest free blues festival in North America. Um,
That's right.
I represented Rosa's Lounge in the Rosa's Lounge tent. That was really awesome, and that was the same day that Mr. Buddy Gosh shut down Millennium Park for the first time in Millennium Park history. I'm happy that I was a part of that day.
Yeah.
That was really awesome. And then the following month, I did a blues festival in right outside of Mexico City,
Wow.
which was
You're a busy lady.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It was an amazing year. And then of course, I'm also one of the lead singers of Rick King's Royal Hustle. So we picked up a I don't want to call it a tenure because a residency. We picked up a
Mm.
residency at Mom's Place in River North, and that's a pretty legendary spot in
Okay.
Chicago. So we've been doing that every Thursday. So yeah, like the months leading up to my stroke were pretty life changing, pretty awe inspiring. Just amazing, and I feel really blessed to have experienced all of that
Right.
in just 1 year.
Right. And I mean, I looked at a little bit of your bio and I'm like, wow, she has been doing everything. Um, and I think I read a little bit about you dance or theater or something like that.
Yeah, so my background is musical theater and
Mm,
just straight theater. I am formally trained. I'm formally trained in the Meisner technique, so I am a technically trained actor. A lot of people don't really know that. because I don't really do a lot actively right now in acting, but acting is a very deep passion of mine. I'm still very good at it, and I
Wow.
love to do it. It's just like music has just been consuming so many aspects of my life. I'm just going with it. But
Yeah.
I have been acting since I was a child. My first production, was a church play.
Mm,
And I quickly started doing school plays, and that kind of progressed to, the high school musicals. And when I was in high school, I joined a community theater, a community youth theater called Free Street Theater, that was based in Wicker Park.
mm,
And there it was more of like an after school Saturday type of programming for youth between the ages of 13 and 19, I believe. um, and there we had actual formal training in what's called the Meisner. There's like different acting techniques. We were trained in the Meisner technique, which like stems basically it just stems from like real emotions, and then you take those real emotions and you put them behind words that are given to you to speak. So I was trained in Meisner technique, and we we wrote and produced and performed our own plays, and we would travel to various places in Europe, teaming up with different theaters to perform those pieces. I've traveled to Amsterdam, um, uh, Hamburg, Germany,
mm.
Berlin, Poland. I think that's it. I think I only did those four places. They did go to Norway, but I joined the company the year after Norway. I wish I would have gone, but no. But I've also helped teach third year NYU students at the Stellar Adler Conservatory in New York City. That was a really
Oh,
fun, yeah, that was a really fun experience. Teaching theater to people that were older than me. That was pretty cool.
I'm sure.
Uh, that was a great experience. And definitely something that I would like to get back into at some point. But yeah, like for a minute there, we were making a cute little splash there too. We ended up on the cover of the 2007 issue of American Theater magazine.
Mm, okay.
I think like if you Google that, you'll find my face on there. That was pretty cool.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, so my roots are in theater. I've always been singing. I've been singing since I was 5. Um,
Hmm.
I started singing in my church choir. Like a lot of us. I started singing in my church choir with my grandmother. Um, and that's where I really discovered like my love and passion for singing. And it's just something that never left me. And it all just kind of snowballed on top of each other.
Yeah.
Like the singing, and then in third grade, I started taking ballet. I was a very hyperactive child, and one of my math teachers, who was also a dancer, I think she used to dance with Alvin Ailey or something like that. She told my mom, she's like, Alicia has a lot of energy, and I think that she would be a great candidate for this ballet class. So let me give you the information. And
Hmm.
my mom took me like the very next month when they were having auditions, and I was like a fish in water.
Wow.
Um,
Wow. So it was all
yeah,
of this seemed so, I was going to say that it seemed like it was so natural. Like it was so natural for you to do all of them because you just flourished, you know.
yeah, yeah. And so, like I try to incorporate all those skills into the music, into my performances, because it's all a part of me. The theater, the dance
Hmm.
training, it's just as big a part of me as the music.
Hmm. Wow.
You know, I don't want to let any of that go.
And you shouldn't. Definitely
Yeah,
not. Yeah. So,
yeah,
so did you have any issues or health issues before you had your stroke? Because you were sharing with us that um, you shared with us that it is a rare occurrence, and not very many people have had spinal cord strokes, and so
yeah,
and I think all of us who never heard at all about it, and the fact that you share, your physical therapy and your treatments, and it's just amazing. It's just amazing. And then I'm so amazed at how much you progress in a short amount of time. So,
yeah, yeah. God is good.
mhm,
No. To answer your question, health wise, as far as me and my doctors know and are concerned, I really didn't have any ailments or any
mhm,
pre like there was nothing there
mhm,
that would indicate anything that would lead to a spinal cord stroke. Later on down the road, my doctors here at QLI, they noticed some things in my early blood work that may or may not indicate that this could have been hereditary. Um,
oh,
but it wasn't anything caused by my health or anything that I was or wasn't doing to
mhm,
my own body. I
mhm,
pretty much had a clean bill of health. Outside of like an occasional shot of tequila, there wasn't really um, anything th- to have onset that or bring it on. It really, really did just come out of nowhere.
mhm,
I was actually getting ready. I was putting on my coat. It was like an average night. I think it was like maybe 4 nights after we buried my grandmother. I just needed to get out of the house. I was tired of crying. I was tired of laying on my couch. I needed to get out, and I needed just a sense of normalcy.
mhm,
And my friend Pete Galanis was playing at Rose's Lounge, because they have their Tuesday nights there. So I wanted to go out and hear some music and just feel normal and like and,
right,
and listen to some blues music. And as I was putting my coat on, that's when it happened. Uh, and it happened very, very fast.
right,
Um,
mhm,
and I got into an ambulance. Let's see. The stroke started about, I want to say, 8:30.
mhm,
I got to the hospital around 9. I walked in, and that was the last time I walked. By the time we figured out that it was a stroke, I couldn't move anything except my head and my arms.
wow,
Yeah. Um, yeah. I spent 2 weeks in the ICU. Um, and even the doctors at Northwestern Memorial, they were stumped.
mm,
They do, and like Northwestern's like number one for neurology in North America.
mhm,
And even they were stumped. One in every 3,000 people experience spinal cord strokes. Um, that's a very, very small number of people.
right,
Um, and I don't think that it's a coincidence that I happen to be one of those people. Um, I think that there's a bigger story to tell from this, and I think that I think that in a lot of ways, God is using me to help increase visibility, for the disabled and for stroke survivors, period. Um, because one thing that I'm noticing out of all of this is there's not a lot of representation for the disabled, anywhere, be it in media or in like the real world. There's very little representation and very little accessibility,
Right.
for the disabled. And if I could, now that I am disabled myself, if I could, I would love to be a voice for the disabled, and
Hmm.
and kind of just like, just kind of like remind the world that like we're still here. And our disabilities, like my disability is not my personality. And as I'm
Exactly.
getting, and as I'm getting to know like all of these other people, and like we come from like all walks of life, like, like some of us are like Republicans, liberals, Democrats, some of us are like some of us are like Christians, Buddhists, non-denomination, like
Hmm.
Gen X, Gen Z, I'm like millennials. There's like some boomers here, like literally from all walks of life. But like one thing that we have in common, like, is this traumatic experience that we had that brought us all here. And at the end of the day, we're all looking for understanding and connection. And what, regardless of our personal beliefs, we all want to still be seen and understood, and we all still just want the best for our individual lives, and we still want the best for our families. And
Okay.
one thing that I am learning through this entire experience is we actually have more in common than we do different. Um, and I think that God has placed me here to help be a voice for us, because that's what I want to do, like,
Okay.
just going out into the world, like in my wheelchair, I'm learning really quick that there's very little space and accessibility for disabled individuals, and there's so
Hmm.
many of us. And to there for there to not
Okay.
be for there to be very little representation for us is kind of weird. It's kind of weird. And
Yeah.
um um I'm I don't know how it's going to pan out, and I honestly don't know how I'm going to do it, but I would love to help be a voice for the disabled, because there's so much that we can offer through our experiences, through the things that we create, um, and through the stories that we have to tell.
Right. Wow. I get so much inspiration just from hearing you talk about it like that. And you're absolutely right that in 2025 you would not think that there would still be so many uh, places that are inaccessible, easily for someone who can't, maybe walk or whatever it would be. It's just
Yeah.
unbelievable. Hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's just something that people don't really think about.
Hmm.
Um, like, you don't really think about stuff until like it hits close to home. Uh,
Hmm.
and especially like in the big city, like a lot of places don't really have, like I don't know, like if they're not being made to do it, they're not going to do it. Um,
Exactly.
and I also want to hopefully inspire people who have been disabled for a while and do feel a little discouraged. Hopefully, I want to encourage them to start taking up space. Like, the one thing that I've learned about myself quickly. I learned this is that I'm not going to stop taking up space just because at the time right now, I'm unable to use my legs. Like there's not one part of me that feels like I need to stop doing what I'm doing because
That's
of what
right.
happened to me. Like I
Hmm.
said, my disability is not my personality, and my disability is not my disability, if that makes
Right.
sense.
No, it
You
makes
know,
perfect sense. Yeah,
and I'm hoping to just like inspire other people who have been discouraged from one reason or another, and hopefully inspire the disabled to start back to take up space, because you deserve to be on like I still deserve to be on stage, and I am still going to be on stage, like you deserve to be in these concert venues with everybody else. You guys
that's
deserve to
right.
be,
Hmm.
and these theme parks with everybody else. You guys deserve to be, we deserve to be in the movie theaters, in all of these like public sectors, in Congress, at the Grammys, at this place, at that place, just like everybody else. And I think that this is the now is the best time, more than ever, just to say like we're out here.
That's
I'm out
right.
here. We are out here, and
Hmm.
we are still the same person that we've always been before whatever happened.
That's right. Exactly. I love how you express all of this. I do. I truly do. So, well, did you want to speak on any part of the therapy that you received, you know,
Oh
at this point?
God, so much. Oh my God,
No, I know. You shared
where
so
to
much. It's just,
start? I've been in so much therapy. I started at Shirley Ryan Ability Lab. And shout out to them. They're amazing. They have very innovative and tech forward approaches to how they treat their patients. A lot of
mm,
it, a lot of it, honestly, and it sounds a little old fashioned, but a lot of it, for lack of a better term, is through electroshock therapy. And it's kind of been rebranded as quote unquote restorative therapy. And it is just that. It is just that. It's using very small amounts of electricity to hopefully
mm,
um, hopefully jumpstart that brain and body connection
connection. Hmm.
that we have naturally, because like with with a brain injury or with a spinal cord injury, that connection gets cut off in some way. And like for me with my spinal cord stroke, um as you can tell, like obviously like very little to no, um like nothing has happened to my brain. Like I still speak
Oh, yeah.
well and articulate everything just fine. I
Yeah.
can still sing, all that good stuff. But like if I tell my leg to move, like if you tell your leg to move right now, you're going to move your leg. Like if I tell my leg to move right now, that connection between my brain and my spinal cord is going to get lost somewhere.
Mm,
And
mm,
the treatments that I'm getting right now is to hopefully like restore that connection. Um, and I'm glad to
mm,
report that like I have been getting some return back into my arms and like my upper
hmm.
body and like my back. Like I can move my back, like I can do all this. And you know, I I
Yeah.
couldn't I couldn't do any of that. Like 2
Yeah.
months ago when I was in ICU, I can barely turn my head
Wow.
without being in pain. I lost so much weight when I was in ICU and in Shirley Ryan because I couldn't even feel I couldn't even feel my internal organs. I couldn't feel when I was hungry, so I didn't
Mm,
eat. Um, and by the grace of God, like I just got a lot of like return to my internal organs, so I can feel when I'm hungry, I can feel when I'm full. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the weight that I lost, I'm gaining back, thankfully. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
gain too much back now, but
Yeah.
um but and like now that I'm starting to feel like myself again, hallelujah. I'm getting into more fun therapies. I'm still keeping up
Mhm.
with like my occupational therapies, which is like um, them training me on how to use my hands again, putting on
Mhm.
my clothes, brushing my teeth, combing my hair, the day to day things that you need to do with your hands to live.
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
and then of course like the physical therapy, like the weight training and like like the hardcore working out, just
Yeah.
like
Wow.
body building, building back up a lot of that strength that we lost um while being hospitalized. But like I'm getting into like other types of like therapies that are like kind of reconnecting me back to like my average everyday life. Like I'm starting to get back into gardening. There's a gardening club
Mhm.
here. I'm
Mhm.
getting back into gardening. I have a sewing class every Monday here.
Okay.
Uh,
I
I,
saw that you did
it,
archery. I saw that you were
yeah,
getting into archery.
yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
I never in a million years would I thought I would be doing archery. I'm doing
Yeah.
archery. I'm starting kayak lessons.
Really?
Yeah, I'm starting kayak next week.
That's nice. Hmm.
Yeah, like this place is amazing. Like they're trying to get me onto some jet skis this summer. Like and
Ooh.
I'm gonna do it all. Like I just you know
Mm.
this new lease that I have on life, I'm very grateful for it. And
Yeah.
um, it's really taught me to just take advantage of every single opportunity that's presented to you, because sometimes opportunities will be presented to you in ways that you don't think that they will be. And because of that, it's really easy to overlook them and pass up these blessings that have been handed to you. And
Mm.
what this experience has definitely taught me is to um, really live life like it is your last day, because it could be, not to
Very
get
true.
so dark and grim, but I'm saying that to say, don't take anything for granted. um,
Hmm.
like if somebody says, "Hey, do you want to do the sewing class?" Absolutely. Hey, you want to get on these kayaks? I sure do. Hey, you want to come down to the archery range? You know what? Yeah. Let me check it out. And you just end
Hmm.
up, I just ended up loving a lot of stuff that I never thought that I would like or love. And it's teaching me a lot about my brain, it's teaching me a lot about my body, it's teaching me a lot about just like connecting to other human beings, and how it's not as hard as we really make it. Like we make
Really?
we
Okay.
we make human connection such a hard concept, and it's not hard to connect with another human being. We just make it hard. We just make it hard
Hmm.
by telling ourselves all these weird things that kind of isolate us and separate us and from each other. And
Yeah.
I'm learning that just saying yes to things that you might not think is for you, just kind of like saying yes to certain things and just giving it a try, you surprise yourself and you open yourself up to different ideas and concepts, and sometimes even opportunities that you didn't even think that you would have, had you not said okay, or had you not said yes to certain things.
Right. It's almost like you're saying, give yourself a chance to live.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
So, for the people who are going to watch this, what do you want them to do other than what you've already told us? And is there anything that we can do to help you?
Um, I mean, shameless plug, I do have a GoFundMe. Uh, this place is not cheap.
Mhm.
Um, I do have a GoFundMe that I'm pretty sure we can put somewhere
Oh
in the
yeah.
captions or somewhere. And if it's upon your heart to give, um, but definitely like, besides that, you can follow me on social media. I am at on Facebook. It's my first and last name, Alicia Ya Yah Townsend. Instagram, I am Yaya for the win. Um, and we spell Yaya Yayah. Um, Follow me on social media. I have my entire story up there
Mhm.
from beginning to up until today. Really, I have my entire story. You can follow the you can follow my progress, um, and just really get to know more about me and my goals and my story. And you know, and also too, just give me some encouragement because
Oh yeah. Sure.
I do believe in myself and I always will, but I'm human. I'm a human being, and like every other human being, I do thrive off of support. I do thrive off of words of encouragement, and I do thrive off love. Um, and then another thing that people can do is just continue to treat each other with kindness. I think that um,
Mhm.
especially now, especially now, and like the song says, what the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Right.
I think one of the best things that I would love to see a lot of us do is to just be nice to each other.
Hmm.
I think that's one of the hardest things to find, navigating the blues scene is uh, finding people who were nice. Um, and once I did find my tribe, it made me really just love what I do even more,
Right.
um, because it's it's hard to find people who genuinely love you and want to see the best in you. And when you find that tribe, you don't want to let it go. And don't. If you're
Hmm.
lucky enough, if you're blessed enough to have those individuals in your life, don't take them for granted and don't let them go because you will be hard pressed to find those types of people again.
That's right. I agree 100% with you. Yeah. That's that. Now, that is one thing about the blues community that they, a lot of them are very welcoming and, they make you feel comfortable. And just as you said,
Yeah.
once you find your tribe, that is so difficult, especially in once you become an adult. So, yeah. Okay. Okay, yeah, yeah. Well, that's about it with my questioning for you. I mean, of course, you were free to share whatever, and you did. You shared. I love how you talked about everything. It's like you, of course, you think about a lot of things, but sharing that information with other people is a whole nother thing. And I love how you did it so beautifully. So,
Yeah, and thank you so much for interviewing me. And that's another thing too, just doing things. That's another thing that people should do. Like, make sure you guys are doing stuff that make you feel like yourself, that make you
mm,
feel normal. Like, don't get too caught up in, I got to get this done, I got to get that done, but these bills, but this and that. Okay, bills are important, of course. I'm not saying don't worry about bills, but
yeah,
don't don't get so caught up in the things that give you anxiety. Uh,
Mm,
Figure out a way, and it's hard sometimes, but it's not impossible. Figure out a way to do the things that make you feel human.
mm-hmm,
Um, and this, for me, this is one of the things that make me feel human.
mm. Wow.
Um, so thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I love to do this, and just to allow people to speak. That to me, that's everything. Let people have their say. Let them tell their own stories, because we can sit and I can hear everything you say, and I'll go back and write it, but it's not the same
Hmm.
as someone hearing it directly from you. So that's
Hmm.
why, and that's how I've been
Exactly.
doing this for a little while. So.
Exactly. And it's honestly, it's the people like you that make the world go round. Like you're the one that's telling the stories. You're the one that's bringing the information and the stories to like to the other people,
Mhm.
so like like you are a very important asset to the community as far as I'm concerned.
Well, thank you.
you
I
know so
appreciate
so
that.
thank you. I
Yeah.
think that the role that you play is just as important as us musicians and
Hmm.
front women and front men and stuff like that, so thank
Mm.
you.
Well, thank you, ma'am. And I tell you, we love your music, and we need musicians. We need singers, musicians, all the arts. That's my whole thing.
Yes.
It's been
And I have a
everything
new
to me.
song coming out too. I almost forgot to tell you. I got a new
Really?
song coming out.
Okay.
I've been working on it. I've been working on it for months, and it would have been out had I not had this doggone stroke. But we
Mhm.
found a way. We found a way to keep it moving. So I do got some new music coming out finally.
Good. Good.
Finally, you
Looking
guys have
forward
been
to it.
hearing me doing covers on covers on covers. You guys are gonna finally get some original music from Yaya.
Nice. That is nice. Okay. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Shy Panther and Friends show. And I hope to see you and speak with you again soon. And remember to follow the show as well on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And it's Shy Panther and Friends show. Thank you, and God bless.